Halo pemirsa, selamat malam. Kita berjumpa dalam Prime Interview bersama saya Desi Anwar. Pemirsa, Turki akhir-akhir ini menjadi sorotan dunia setelah kapal kemanusiaannya Mavi Marmara diserang oleh pasukan Israel. Dan beberapa lama yang lalu saya sempat mewawancarai Presiden Turki Abdullah Gul khusus mengenai hubungan antara Turki dan Israel serta kebijakan internasionalnya dan juga mengenai hubungan bilateral Indonesia dan Turki menjelang kunjungan Presiden Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono ke Turki. Ya, pemirsa, wawancara ini dilakukan di kantor kepresidenan Abdullah Gul di Ankara, ibu kota Turki. Hai, Desi Anwar from Metro TV in Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, Your Excellency, thank you very much for the time you're giving to Metro TV for this interview. And first of all, condolences over the death of some of the Turkish nationalities that were shot during the Israeli raid on the Mavi Marmara. Perhaps you could give us your response to the recent aggression and what is going to happen between Turkey and Israel after this.
Öncelikle tabii hoş geldiniz ve yani en büyük Müslüman ülkesi olan Endonezya'dan ilk defa bir televizyon kanalına mülakat veriyorum.
First of all, I'd like to welcome you. Indonesia is a country with the largest Muslim population. This is the first time I'm giving an interview to a TV from your country. In that sense, it's a pleasure for me to do so. Furthermore, it would be an exceptional pleasure for us to be able to host His Excellency President Yudhoyono when he visits Turkey later on this month. In relation to your questions with the Israeli raid very recently, something that we deem unacceptable. One has to understand that this was a group that organized by NGOs. They have humanitarian aims only. No way they were organized by our state or any state. They came from numerous countries. It must be noted and underlined that they were attacked on open seas. So I would say the Israel's raid was a very great mistake. It is something that they would regret for quite some time. There have been deaths on this ship during this raid. This was a great mistake. Today we will be bringing in everybody that was detained during this raid. That includes our Turkish nationals as well as the nationals from other countries who were on the ship.
Bütün insanların hepsini Türkiye'ye getireceğiz ve bu olayı tabii takip edeceğiz.
You mentioned about the Israel will regret the action. How will they regret it?
Bunu bütün dünya tabii görecek çünkü bu bir saldırgan.
The world has witnessed an aggression. It was a piracy. It's not something that a state would be engaged in. And in fact, they actually would condemn in the United Nations as well. They would condemn in all international forum and all international community. I believe that Israel did not calculate the price they need to pay for this action. They will see that there is a price to pay.
Bedelinin ne olacağını herhalde iyi hesaplamadılar. Onu görecekler. İsrail Türkiye'yi başka ülkelerle
Israel should not make mistake in confusing Turkey with other states in the region. Turkey is not a country they should choose to face off with. They will regret this.
Hatalardan birisi bu oldu. Türkiye çatmak oldu. Onun için bundan kesinlikle çok büyük pişmanlık duyacak.
Turkey itself is a country with a strong regional power and has an influence on regional politics, especially in the Middle East. And with recent events, what would it mean for peace in the region, and what role could Turkey play to create peace in the region?
Türkiye bölgede, yani bölgesine çok önem veren bir ülke, yani bölgesini sahiplenen bir ülke bu anlamda.
Turkey has an important task to the establishment of the stability and confidence in this region, and it strives to contribute to the solution of the regional's current problems. Therefore, in fact, Turkey enjoys the confidence of regional states in all these measures they are pursuing. We want to solve regional issues peacefully, and we want to contribute to overcoming all sorts of difficulties in the region. And because we do so with good intention, Turkey is a country whose friendship and support is sought after by all regional states.
Ve işbirliği daima, dostluğu ve işbirliği daima aranan bir ülke.
Ya, pemirsa tetaplah bersama kami, dialog bersama Presiden Abdullah Gul akan kami lanjutkan sesaat lagi.
Semangat mengukuhkan demokrasi di Indonesia, Metro TV menyelenggarakan dan menyiarkan secara langsung Quick Count Pemilu Kada 2010 bekerjasama dengan Lingkaran Survei Indonesia Provinsi Sumatera Barat, Rabu 30 Juni, live jam 1 siang.
All new, Nate's going into a good old-fashioned neighborhood swap meet.
The Oprah Winfrey Show, Nate's How to Save Your Big Cash Makeover, Sabtu 19 Juni, jam 11 siang.
And action!
Satu lagi, karya sinema syarat isu nasionalisme hadir bagi pencinta film Indonesia. Tanah Air Beta, berlatar kehidupan warga yang memilih berintegrasi meski harus berpisah dengan sanak saudaranya. Bagaimana kisah menarik di balik pembuatan film tersebut? Saksikan Behind the Scene, Tanah Air Beta, Sabtu 19 Juni jam 4 sore.
Masih bersama Prime Interview, pemirsa, berikut kami lanjutkan wawancara eksklusif kami bersama Abdullah Gul, Presiden Turki. Obviously with the recent development, it will somehow destabilize peace in the region. So will there be a change in Turkey's foreign policy, and is there a conscious shift towards a more Middle Eastern focus, and how do you think this will affect relations with Western neighbors, and particularly the US, who's been quite silent over the recent raid?
Türkiye'nin doğrusu çok yanlış.
Turkey pursues a multi-dimension foreign policy. Our position requires a multi-dimension foreign policy. Of course, we have very strong ties with the United States and Europe, but also we enjoy very strong ties with the Caucasus, Middle East, Islamic countries, and other regions. And this is reflected from our multi-dimension foreign policy, a policy that is based on rationality, on preserving security and stability. I have to say that this discussion of whether Turkey is shifting from a more Western-oriented foreign politics towards one where the East takes predominance or vice versa, I find this discussion to be somewhat senseless. Because the bottom line is our multi-dimensional foreign policy, which incorporates all axes, is one that is complemented by this numerous axes, and these axes, in fact, are not competing each other.
Tamamlayıcı, birbirine alternatif değil.
Okay, so there is no conscious shift towards a Middle East engagement, that's what you're saying?
No. Yani bunlar dediğim gibi ya doğru analizler değil veyahut da
No, we cannot speak of a shift. I do believe that the analysis that we read here and there that claim there is an intentional shift are in fact superficial understanding of what the reality is. I state again, we have close ties with the Middle East, Islamic world, and Central Asia, and all our Turkish brothers living in those regions and with the Caucasus. This relationship have always been existed, but I believe some who didn't notice about these relationships, now they are asking the question whether there is a shift. We do have a very important relation with Europe. Indeed, Turkey is engaged in a accession negotiation with the European Union and is one of the first members of NATO. So this multi-dimension foreign policy makes Turkey unique. That is what makes Turkey important.
NATO'ya kurulduğundan bu yana üye olan bir ülkeyiz. Bu anlamda baktığınızda Türkiye gerçekten çok unik bir yapısı olan bir ülke. Bundan dolayı çok önemli.
Iran's nuclear ambition is a stumbling block in the global context, so to speak, and recently there is a deal with Iran shipping uranium to Turkey. Tell us a little bit more about the aim of the agreement, and how will it affect UN policies towards Iran with regard to nuclear profit?
Önce şunu söylemek isterim. Biz Türkiye olarak bütün bölgemizde nükleer silahlara
I should start off by stating our principle when it comes to this issue, that is, we are against any states having nuclear weapons, no matter who they may be. And with that, we also address the principle that all states are entitled to use nuclear energy.
Sonra da şunu söylemek istedim. İran tabii Türkiye'nin komşusu ve komşuluk ilişkileri.
Iran is Turkey's neighbor. And as a neighbor, we wanted to assist them in facing this important and difficult issue. In that context, we always been a facilitator between Iran and other nations. I believe that nobody actually believed that Iran could indeed be convinced on this issue. However, as we enjoy our relationship with Iran, as we can talk to them directly, we've been able to convince, and we've come to the point where indeed the initial request from the UN has now been met. That is, 1,200 kilograms of raw material of uranium will be deposited in Turkey. In turn for that, they will be given 120 kilograms of high material for their purposes. I'm not saying that everything has been solved, but we are saying a very important and crucial step has been taken in the right direction through this breakthrough that we have achieved with Iran, so we don't end up in somewhere where this situation becomes unsolvable.
Gerçekleştirmiş olduk. Bu nükleer meselenin halli değil, nükleer meselede önemli bir güven yapıcı bir adım olarak bunu görüyoruz. Ümit ederim ki buna böyle bakılır ve geri dönüşü olmayan yollara girilmez.
But you still believe Iran has nuclear weapons ambitions?
Biz İran'ı nükleer
We can't blame Iran that they are trying to produce nuclear weapon because we have no proof that they are actually trying to build a nuclear weapon. However, Iran should be more transparent and more cooperative in showing to the international community that they have no such effort. And as the international community call upon Iran to be more transparent and cooperative, we do the very same.
Sorumluluğu da oluyor.
Let me focus now on Turkey as a country. I mean, with a long history, but and it has gone through many changes and adapted well to the dynamics of modern history. What further reforms does the country need in order to strengthen democracy and also the civil institutions?
Öncelikle şunu söylemek isterim. Hiçbir ülke kendisini perfect, çok mükemmel diye ilan etmemesi gerekir. Her ülkenin bir eksiği var.
I would like to respond by first stating that no nation can truly claim to have reached level of perfection. I believe all have shortcomings.
Çeşitli noksanlarımız olabilir, farkındayız. İyileştirmek, çeşitli yeni reformlar yapmak için çok kararlıyız.
In that context, we realize that we have certain shortcomings and we must try to overcome and work toward this by conducting all necessary reforms.
Tam üyelik müzakerelerine başlamanın
Here's something that needs to be stressed. Turkey is now engaged in full membership accession negotiations with the European Union. The prerequisites to be allowed to be engaged in this negotiation is to achieve all Copenhagen's criteria, which one of the criteria is that the country needs to achieve sufficient democratic standards.
Sufficiently yakalamış olmaktır.
The fact that we are already engaged in this negotiation shows the very standard of democracy and rule of law that Turkey has achieved already as we continue to strive for reform.
Özgürlüklerin, hukukun standartları hakkında herhalde iyi bir bilgi verir kanaatindeyim.
Turkey has a lot to do, just like other nations have a lot to do, including the United States and Europe.
Avrupalıların da Amerikalıların da yapması gereken birçok şey olduğu gibi.
Ya pemirsa, tetaplah bersama kami. Wawancara eksklusif kami bersama Presiden Turki Abdullah Gul akan kami lanjutkan sesaat lagi.
Eagle Awards 2010 telah memilih 10 semifinalis yang berhak mempresentasikan proposal terbaik mereka. Jadilah saksi perjuangan 10 semifinalis memperebutkan posisi 5 besar dalam Pitching Forum. Segera, cerdas Indonesia. Eagle Awards
Cerdas itu bukan akal-akalan. Eagle Awards Cerdas Indonesiaku adalah ajang bagi sineas muda untuk menjelajah kedalaman kamu punya kecerdasan. Tapi cerdas adalah kreatif yang positif, inspiratif, dan inovatif. Dan cerdas itu mampu memberi jalan keluar, membuka pikiran, dan membuka hati.
Dengan semangat mengukuhkan demokrasi di Indonesia, Metro TV menyelenggarakan dan menyiarkan secara langsung Quick Count Pemilu Kada 2010 bekerja sama dengan Lingkaran Survei Indonesia, Provinsi Jambi, Sabtu 19 Juni, live jam 1 siang.
Ya, pemirsa, Prime Interview akan kami lanjutkan. Ternyata cukup banyak yang dapat dilakukan untuk mengembangkan lebih jauh lagi hubungan antara Indonesia dan Turki. Berikut lanjutan dari interview dengan Presiden Turki Abdullah Gul. If I may finish my question with, how could Turkey and Indonesia improve bilateral relations, and how do you see Indonesia, which is also a large Muslim population and a member of the G20, how could Indonesia also play a greater role in international affairs?
Tabii bu soruyu doğrusu çok bekliyordum zaten. Türkiye ile Endonezya arasında aslındaki ilişkiler çok köklü, ta 16. yüzyıla kadar uzanır. Çok tarihidir. Ve sizin de söylediğiniz gibi, benim de başımda söylediğim gibi,
Turks and Indonesian relations are very deep-rooted. In fact, in history, they go back all the way to 16th century. As I said before, Indonesia is a very special and important country. It is so because it has the largest Muslim population in the world, a democracy, and is a member of G20. Taking all these facts into considerations, we attach particular importance to Turkish-Indonesia ties. We believe that this is extraordinary important. In this context, I attach great importance to President Yudhoyono's visit at the end of this month, because in fact we have the pleasure of hosting after 25 years of the highest level of visit between our nations. We will take this opportunity to furthering our ties, that there can be investments between the two nations. Also, it's important to note that Turkish Airlines has now resumed its direct flight from Istanbul to Jakarta. This is an important factor to furthering our ties in all fields. I have in fact been to Indonesia many times, starting in early 1980s. I have very close personal friends in your nation among statesmen and intellectuals. I enjoy my friendship with them. This upcoming visit is a very important one. We will be using this opportunity to conduct a business council meeting, a cultural event, where your impressive culture will be exhibited here in Turkey, that we will be hosting together. I believe this very significant visit of His Excellency President will be bringing our two states closer. Let me conclude by saying that we also attach great importance to our ties with Indonesia, because Indonesia is indeed the greatest power, the most significant power in its wider region. It is a very important country within ASEAN. We wish to further our ties with this important regional institution. We wish to become an observer in this institution. And I'd like to take this opportunity to present our gratitude to Indonesia for supporting us within the context of ASEAN. And I'd like to finish off by sending the warmest greeting from Turkish people to the Indonesian people.
Ve bütün sizin vasıtanızla bütün Endonezya halkına, herkese, Türk halkının sevgi ve muhabbetlerini de iletmek isterim.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Nah, pemirsa, demikian wawancara eksklusif kami bersama Presiden Turki Abdullah Gul. Saya Desi Anwar beserta rekan kerja Metro TV mengucapkan terima kasih atas perhatian Anda. Sampai jumpa.